Do you have students, when they read a question, go right into the answer choices? Do they need to go back to the passage, or do you have them kind of think about that question and what they need to do before moving on?
Great question. Yeah, I think a lot of students will, again, I'll use logical reasoning as an example because it's the most complicated section in certain ways. Like I said, 15 different question types. And so students, for many question types, they can actually predict the correct answer before looking at the choices.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they'll read these arguments and they're confusing. They're dense, difficult text. They're meant to be. And so students will read it. They'll kind of skim, kind of get it, kind of not, be like, oh, I don't really get it 100%. Let me look at the choices and see if that helps.
Right.
And that never helps. It never helps because the choices.
We're on the same page.
It's so funny how similar these exams are. I'm surprised, actually. I don't know much about the MCAT at all, so I'm curious to learn more. But the choices only make sense in the context of the argument. So focus on the argument. A lot of LSAT prep companies focus on drilling by question type, like flaw, strength, and weaken, because it's easy to categorize that way. But that's only of limited usefulness. Like I said, there are also methods of reasoning that cut across a wide variety of question types. Like you can strengthen a correlation causation argument, or you can weaken it, or you can just point out, hey, that's flawed. There are lots of things you can do with that kind of argument, regardless of the question type. And so understanding the argument in depth is actually really important. So I say slow down, focus on understanding it in depth. And then, of course, given the question type, you can make a prediction in many cases. For a correlation causation argument, you can strengthen it or you can weaken it. And so we can predict different ways you might strengthen or weaken that argument by downplaying alternative potential causes or promoting alternative potential causes, and then go into the choices looking with that idea in mind.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's great advice. That's basically what I tell my students to do for the cars section is I tell them, if you go right into those answer choices, you're going to get more confused, not less. A lot of times you're just start now blindly looking for what sounds right, but what sounds right is not always going to be the right answer. So if you can go in with a prediction of what the right answer might look like, then you're kind of more focused in to pick up on the things that match that prediction and those that don't. And I also will say what I call the question behind the question is to rephrase what the question asks, because sometimes it's very confusing that there might be double negatives, these accept questions. So put it in your own words so it's clear in your head now what you're looking for once you go down to those answer choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're really good in those wrong answer choices at using the exact same words and phrases as in the argument. And so those wrong answers will seem even more appealing if you don't already have your own idea in your head in your simple language versus the exam's complex dressed up language. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.